Okay, in this video, I'm going to show you how to instantiate an array. This is something that I was hoping to get to in class, but didn't quite get to it, and it will be necessary for some of the work I'm going to be asking you to do. So, so far we have created the light class and the light string class. Again, these are all available on the URL that I gave you in class so that you can download and check it out. And so you notice that for the light string class, we have already used an array of lights. How does the light string get those lights? Well, somebody's got to instantiate them somewhere. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create another main class. I'm going to call it test light string, and illustrate a couple of things here. First of all, I want to show you how to declare and instantiate the array and all of the elements in it. Now, the thing with Java is that an array is an object, and so it must be instantiated, but arrays are instantiated in a unique way. But if it's an array of objects, it has to, in addition to having the array instantiated, you also have to instantiate each element of the array. Those are two different things. So in other words, the array of lights is different and a different object from each individual light. And let's take a look at that. First, let's declare an array of lights. We'll call them my lights. Okay. So that's all we've done here is declare an array of lights. We don't need that. And now the next thing that I need to do with an array is instantiate it somewhere. And here's how I do it. New light, and let's give it 5. Okay, so what this line does, and I'll put that in a comment so you can. So we declare the light array, and here we instantiate the light array only. Okay, so let's take a look at what has happened here. So notice let's print it out. If you want to find out what's going on, just print things out. So let's first print it out. And okay, so before initializing the array. All right, now how do we? One way of basically printing out an array is in a for loop. This should be familiar. So for int I is 0, we have this silly zero-based indexing. I is less than mylights dot length. Again, this is a pattern of a for loop that you should be very used to after a while and have experienced something similar. So let's just print out what each one of these are. So I can address, all right, so in pretty much every language these days does things this way. So I address the individual elements of the array with the brackets and an index in there. And then when I have as my upper limit the length of the array, then that guarantees that I will never go out of bounds. So when I run this, let's see what happens. So okay, so here it prints before initializing the array, and notice that I get 5 nulls here. Okay, why is that? Because I have not instantiated them. Now, in this, what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to instantiate. Let's get this right. All right. So now I'm going to instantiate. Now I'm going to do it one at a time. There are several different ways of doing this, but the most straightforward. So my lights 0. Again, we start with 0. So if I have an array of length 5, the indexing goes 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. I think that that's silly, but they didn't ask me. So how do I instead, now my light 0 is an object of type light. My lights, without the bracket, is an object of type array of lights. So I can instantiate this, and if you remember, the constructor for light wants a string that is going to be a color, so I'll give it that color. And let's make the next one blue. And oops, let's get a green one, and oops, oh, how about a yellow one? And finally, oh, what's a color? What's a color I haven't used? How about purple? Yeah, actually, I can put any string I want in there, but that's we're going to worry about that at some other time. But okay, so so now I have now completely initialized this array, and again, there are 2 steps to initializing an array. You instantiate the array, and then you instantiate each individual element of that array. Now, if it's a primitive array, and in the next example, I'm gonna show you the primitive thing. You have to do something comparable, except that if it's a primitive array, like an array of integers, then I don't have to instantiate anything, but I still have to set them to a particular value. And what we've seen here is that the default value for a variable of any object is null, meaning that it's not anything. So let's print this out just to show what we got here. Is print line, and this print line after initialization. And again, we have the for loop, int I is 0, I less than my light's length. Okay, so what this should do is, oops, okay. So now when we run it, we see that after initialization, we got the red light, blue light, green light, yellow light, and purple light. And in fact, just to show you one little thing here, let's turn the green light on. And here's how I would do that. I take an object reference. The green one is index 2. And let's turn it on. Oops, not off, on. Oops, on. Okay, so now when we run it, we see the red light, blue light, green light, yellow light, purple light, but then the green light is on. Okay, so this is how we create the array, and the thing with the light string is that it wanted an array. So the light string, here's how we instantiate this. So here I've declared a variable to be of type light string. And now I instantiate it. And what it wants is it wants an array of lights, if you remember. So remember here's the array of lights. The constructor wants an array of lights. I've created an array of lights. And so I'm going to pass it to there. So now having done that, I can simply print out, okay, the light string object like this. Okay, so remember, when I print out, if I give an object as a argument to a print line statement, it simply invokes its toString method. And if you remember, for the toString method, we created, basically it's going to do it all in one long string of lights. So when we run it, we see that the red light is off, blue light is off, green light is on, yellow light is off, purple light is off. And I see that there's like, well, now what is with that? Where's light string? Ah, see, notice we had it right there. Okay, well, we'll worry about that later. So we have like a little hyphen at the very beginning. There are some tricks to avoid that, but for right now, we're going to put up with that. Okay, so that is the using arrays, instantiating the elements of the array, and passing them to the light string. So that concludes